I'm gonna go ahead and keep it a buck and say that this channel is designed for me to talk about anything that I want to talk about, point blank, period. I will talk about anything that I feel is worthy of a discussion for my community and something that I would like to give my points on, give my perspective on. That is what this channel is designed for. If you don't like it, unfortunately, that is what it is. And I mean, if you need to go and watch other videos, you need to watch other channels, that is completely on you, homie. But if you would like to hear my thoughts on certain issues, then this is the channel for that. Because today I have a major issue I want to talk about, and it's a question. Today we talk about, what are we going to choose? Are we choosing America or are we choosing Trump? The choice is clear for most, but I feel like it's not clear for all. So let me see if I can give you guys my perspective on this. So Trump went through an entire process trying to find election fraud and couldn't find anything. He couldn't find anything to the extent that he was claiming, because it was never really about that. He was always going to do this. If he had lost, whether we had COVID or not, whether we had a system of mail-in ballots or not, if he would have lost, he would have done this. He is not a gracious loser. History has taught us that. If you look into anything about Trump, he never admits defeat. And even in 2016, when he was losing at the beginning of the night on election day because of the Electoral College, he was tweeting out that it was rigged. Then he won. He stopped tweeting about that stuff, obviously, because he won. So this was always the end game. But I figured that it was going to end at him not finding the election fraud and riding out the last 2 weeks, letting Biden come in, and then maybe coming back in 2024 if he really wants to, or one of his children if he really wants to. I would have been fine with that, honestly. 2 weeks of calmness, that would have been great. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, because on the day that they were going to certify Biden, he had a rally talking about election fraud. He riled an entire rally up of protesters / supporters, and he essentially radicalized them because he told them to go across the street and fight like hell at the Capitol, which they ended up doing in the most literal way that they can think of. Whether they misinterpreted his words or not, if Trump says that he didn't mean that, it's the way that it all went down. He obviously sent that mob over there of people that were just Americans, that were protesting, that were there to support their man. And once they broke into the Capitol, they became terrorists. They used force to make it so they would change the election results. So they used terror to accomplish their goals, political goals, at Capitol Hill. That is the definition of terrorism. And unfortunately, those events happened. People lost their lives, and members of Congress, they all had to hide. If they didn't get out in time, they had gallows outside for Pence. They were ready to take people out. That is the truth of all this. They were ready to make it so these guys would pay for what they thought was an election that was stolen from them. This deserves consequences. That is the whole point. He could have literally ridden out the last 2 weeks and gone and played golf for those 2 weeks, but he decided to make this situation happen. And unfortunately, whether he meant it or not, he made an insurrection against the American government and waited hours before he sent the National Guard in, because it seemed like he was making them pay. He was making the members of Congress pay. He was wanting to make Pence pay. And if they would have won, if they would have taken Congress out, then he would have nobody else that would object to his leadership, and that would have been the start of a very dark path for America, the dictatorship of Donald Trump. That would have been the ultimate goal. There's a lot of evidence out there that is saying that they were planning on this all along, that there were messages through Facebook and Parler where they were planning on doing this. That's why they went armed. That's why they went with zip ties, because this was the end goal. Luckily, this didn't happen because brave police officers stopped it at the Capitol. They directed mobs away from the chambers, and they saved lives, losing some of their own. So that is the choice now. It is clear. Do we hold them accountable, or do we just leave the path open for somebody else to do the exact same thing later down the line, or much, much worse? I know a lot of people are going to say that the protests and the riots that happened over the summer, I mean, people are being hypocrites for, not really condemning them to this effect, I guess. For me, I'm always against riots. To me, there is no place for any sort of riot on any side at all. I've never been for riots, and this is essentially what this was. But this had a political goal, and it had a leader that was the most powerful person on the planet. So that is what makes us different. And this is a serious situation. Right now, Republicans, Trump supporters, and even Trump himself, they're calling for unity because they don't want consequences against Trump. That's not how it works. That's not how the law should work. That's not how the rule of law works. There needs to be consequences, and I know there's only a few more days until he leaves office, and he already admitted defeat essentially, but not really. He left it wide open, really. He kind of just said the next administration is going to come in, but he wasn't very clear. He never said that he lost, and he's never going to say that he lost. But a week is too long, and if there are no consequences here, then there will never be any consequences for almost taking out elected members from all the states, from elected members from Congress, taking them out, even the vice president, taking out political opponents. There will never be any consequences for that. That is the whole point. So for me, I'm up for this round of impeachment as opposed to the original, which I really didn't follow that much. But the original round of impeachment, I feel like this one has all the weight behind it. The original one, they were looking into it and all that stuff. But this one is 100. In my opinion, he needs to be impeached. There needs to be consequences. This is an event that needs to be answered for. And right now they're deliberating, and hopefully they come up to the right conclusion. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I know not all of you are on the same side as I am, so I actually would like to have a discussion with you guys in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. This is going to be Sunscape signing off. Take care, guys.